Okay, so now we're learning how to build a relative frequency distribution, and this is another topic discussed in section 2.2. Okay, and once again, let's have ourselves focused on data set 1 again. So we built on a different video clip, we built a frequency distribution, the basic frequency distribution. So here we're going to build a similar, but this time I decided to build a vertical table instead of the horizontal table like before. So here's my vertical table. The left hand side, I make a list of all the data values. Okay, and then here I'm gonna, instead of doing the frequency, I'm just doing the relative frequency this time. Okay, so now the first data value that I see on my list is a 60, and there really are 360. There are 360s, but then to calculate the relative frequencies, the idea now is that 3 is an actual frequency, but now you're gonna need to calculate 3 here into percentage. You need to compute 3 out of the total possible data. So here, to find, before you attempt finding your relative frequency, you actually need to count the number of total data values. So here we have a total of 40. If you actually go through the list, the whole list of data 1, there are 40 individual data. So now 3 here is individually for 60, there are 360. The actual count, the actual frequency for 60. So now to find the relative frequency, you divide 3 by 40. Okay, and that gives you 0.075. So as a percentage, that would give you 7.5%, and that is where you're filling it in. Relative frequency for 60, it's 7.5%. Okay, so now as soon as you get the idea, the rest of the table can be filled out easily. 64, there are 464, so you do 4 over 40. Okay, and it's gonna be 0.1, or in other words, it's 10%. So now you're filling it in to your relative frequency column. And now the next data item is a 68. And once again, the actual count, there are 5. So you do 5 over 40. And that would give me 0.125. Okay. And that would equals to 12.5%. And so here's where you're filling it in, 12.5%. And so now we've had about 3 different individual data values, and you really saw the idea now. So allow me, starting from now on, allow me from this point on, I'm gonna move a little faster by skipping the calculation work. But so now, according to my notes earlier, my 72 has a 20%. Okay, my 76 relative frequency is a 15%. My 80 relative frequency is also a 15. Now what you can see here is that since 76 and 60, they have the exact same actual frequency. They have the exact same actual count. So of course, their frequency need to be, the relative frequency is going to turn out to be the exact same way. So you can skip for yourself. You can save for yourself one calculation step. Okay, and then 88. 88 has the same number of frequency has the same actual frequency as 68. So here it's 12.5 again. Okay, and then here we have 96, and there's only 196. So in as a percentage, it's only 2.5%. 104 and 124, they're all just one single data value, frequency 1. So once again, it's all the same relative frequency with the other 2. Okay, and that is how you build your relative frequency distributions. And a lot of time, the idea now is that a lot of times once you've learned how to build a basic frequency distribution and learn how to build a relative frequency distribution. A lot of time in your in your actual statistic work in the real field out there, a lot of time we blend the two tables here. We bring the two tables into one table. So basically, what commonly people would do out there, and what commonly people would do out there is to construct a table that contains actually 3 columns. So one column is giving a list of the data values, and a column is for the actual frequency, and the last column here is for the relative frequency. Okay, and once again here I'm just showing you this as an option for you to learn. I mean, as an optional way how you can construct the general idea of frequency distribution out there. But here in this video, mainly I just focus on getting these frequency lists here on separate tables.